Hello, I'm Bob Wilhelm, and I'm a storyteller, I'm an iconographer, I'm a spiritual guide, mentor, teacher. I do all this stuff, and I've done it for most of my life. It's Lent, and we're getting close to Easter now, and I've been working in many ways with different forms of religious spirituality. One of the things is I've been working on the Psalms, reciting the Psalms, posting the Psalms. And the other is I've been caught up also a bit in icons, not very much because I have a busy schedule. I need to find a cancer treatment center in Washington, D.C., because we are most likely moving there sometimes in April, the end of April. And it's very, very hard to make the connections and get references, referrals, and so forth, and know exactly what the treatment is. So I pray about this all the time. But something happened, and this is what this video is about. My good friend, John Woo, who I went to college with, I met him when I was a freshman. He was already a hotshot sophomore. His father was a very distinguished Chinese scholar who was essentially a professor at Seton Hall University in New Jersey. And John was the last of, I think, 13 children. He was living with his dad. And he was sort of the bad boy of the philosophy scene there. He loved contemporary philosophy and so forth. And he would hold court in front of the library. He and some of his friends hang out and they would talk. And I was very shy about this. I mean, he was, he was the son of a famous scholar, and there he had his disciples. Sort of, he was like in the Greek marketplace, walking around with all kinds of other philosophers around, and I kind of just hung in there. But I got to know John, and John got to know me, and we became really good friends. When we both graduated and we went on with our lives, and when I married in 1967, Mary Jo Kelly, John and his wife, Terry, who I think I only met at our wedding. I don't remember meeting her earlier. Came down for the wedding. It was a great celebration. And one of the things that I remember, and this is just a side comment because it was such a delight, is that the priest who married us at Blessed Sacrament Church in Washington, D.C., was in residence there. He was in exile. He was Eastern European, and he was thrown out by the communists in their purges. And so he was fluent in Chinese, which he spoke to John and Terry, or at least he was fluent in Hungarian, which he spoke to with my father. He was fluent in Slovak, which he used with my mother, and he was fluent in English, Father Schmotzer. He was a great guy. And his homily on our wedding day, December 16th, 1967, was on the importance of the family and Chinese married life. That it was the importance, this was the key thing, to live as family. This is how you witnessed your faith. And Chinese culture, which he loved, was an example of how to be married. So that was a big surprise for Kelly and me. It was wonderful. So let me go back to the icons. Again, you never know why you're choosing an icon. An icon can be chosen for just you think you're interested in it. You see an icon, oh, I like that icon, but it doesn't work because an icon is only a copy of a spiritual reality that is in the noumenal world. The icon exists in this world, the phenomenal world, but its spiritual rootedness is in the transcendent. So an icon simply isn't a question of aesthetics or art history or anything else. It's a process of revelation of God, the sacred one, the ultimate reality, into our world, and it engages us, and we respond to it. So, for some reason, I think I have it right here. Yes, I do. I was taken up or was caught up by Our Lady of Tenderness. The in Russian, it's the original icon, which was in the city of Vladimir, is usually the way they refer to it. Uh, Vladimirskaya. Everybody knows what that means. It's just a little verbal ending at the end that indicates what icon you're talking about. Um, and so I sketched it. Here it is. I got my colored crayons out and a piece of ordinary paper and did one of the versions because it's been interpreted by many great Russian icon artists. For example, Andrei Rublev. But the original was from the Byzantine Empire. It was sent up by the emperor in Constantinople and suffered all kinds of damage and so forth and over the years because of civil strife, etc. And but anyway, so here it was. So there's the child, the Jesus, very close to his mother, and she's holding him very tenderly everywhere. Her arms enfold him. He's touching her, and she loves him tenderly. And by extension, I discovered that we're all brothers to this Jesus. And she not only loves him, but she is also our protector. She is our mother. We have earthly mothers, yes, just as we have earthly fathers. But Abba, Adonai, the Lord God, he is our true father. And she is our true mother. Theotokos, the God bearer, the tender one. There are other icons of her that show her more serious, where she's presenting her child to the world as a gift in order to teach us. But this one, it's very intimate. So I did the icon. It's reflecting kind of fun here with this glare, but I wanted you to see it. And I loved it. And then I was moved to do another one, not a sketch, because at that time I really felt, it's even 5 years ago, I was really constrained by all the official pronouncements on what is a real icon according to the academic artists of the Eastern churches. I have less concern about that. I think a lot of that is not essential. Anything can be. There are Western icons. The Eastern artists don't want to admit that. Oh, there's just religious paintings done by Western spirituality. No, they are genuine icons. And you don't have to follow the conventions of official icon painting. So I did, so I did this in 2013, about 5 years ago. And I began to interpret it. There's the Bogorodica, that's her name, the initials, the God bearer, and there's Jesus Christus, her son. And I added some colorful piping to her gown and her veil. And I brightened it up a little bit, gave it a little more richness. I love to use acrylics, and this is the icon of Our Lady of Tenderness, as she is known in the West. Mary, the Mother of God, Mary, the Ever Virgin Mary, the Blessed Virgin Mary. So it's a beautiful icon. I love it. It stayed in our dining room, perched up on a case, looking down at all of our meals for the years since I've had it. And it has become one of my favorite icons. I really love this icon. It's part of my life. It's part of Kelly and my life together. We sit down and we have breakfast, we have lunch, we have dinner, and she's there. And friends come over and she's there, and I get to tell her story. So this year, John and Terry Wu came back from Taiwan, and John said, I'd like to buy an icon from you. Pick one out that you really like and sell it to me, and I'll pay you for it. And I knew right away which one it was going to be. But I couldn't accept payment. John's been such a good friend for so many years, since I've been, 18 years old. And John and Terry have supported us in so many ways, financially, emotionally. They shared their children with us. So I made the decision, oh yes, I'm going to have to say goodbye to this icon. This icon I love, but it's going to where I want it to go. And may it grace their house. And may their children and grandchildren gather around with meals for them when they visit. And someday may this icon be passed down to Merton or Raisa or Paul, I don't know who, and may also be passed down to some grandchild. It's part of their tradition. So here's the icon again. I love it. I did it in a very simple way. I didn't fool around with much, but I did do some interpreting. And then the back. Our Lady of Tenderness is a Byzantine icon. The most famous one is Our Lady of Vladimir, showing the tender love of the Bogorodica, the God-bearer, and for her child. This icon has presided over our meals since I painted her in 2013. Now, her mercy goes to the whole Wu family, John and Terry. Then continued on the other side of the back of the icon. Our Easter gift to the Wu family, 2018. And there's the Eastern Cross on the right, with the extra crossbars for the feet, and the tilted crossbar for the title, Jesus of Nazareth, Emperor of the Jews. And the date that I wrote it is in light ink. The heavy, darker blue ink is what I've written now. And so besides John and Terry, their children, Merton, Raisa, and Paul, their spouses, and all the beautiful grandchildren of Terry and John Wu. We love you, Bob and Kelly Wilhelm. And of course, it's the scribbling of when I first did it. I was compulsive, and I had to write down how many layers of white gesso did I do as an undercovering, putting each one on and sanding it down after it dried, and then building up another layer and another layer, so that you get this certain kind of white glossy background. I can't believe I did 10 layers. You don't need to do 10. Now I only do 3. It's enough. So this is my Easter gift to my dear friends. And just wanted you to understand the background of it. One does not know what icon will speak to you. And when it does, if you own an icon, if you see an icon, you also have to be engaged by it. The best icons are those of faces, rather than composite characters where there's a whole set of characters. That's good for big basilicas and churches where you want to narrate a story. But the best icons, I think, are the ones that are folk icons that appear in people's houses. This has been true in Russia and Eastern Europe for centuries. That people living in poverty, people living in squalor, people living in civil strife, people being exploited by nobility and czars and kings, always had a place in their home that they called the place of beauty. It very frequently was at the door. Just as Jews have a mezuzah at the door and they touch the scripture as they come and go. So an Eastern Christian would enter and see a very beautiful but simple folk icon, say a prayer, reflect on it, and enter the house or leave the house. Or it might be somewhere else in the house. They call it the beautiful space. And I found that to be true. There is this beautiful space right here in this house where my icons are, and I live with them and they speak to me. So I'm going to end this, and I invite you to explore the world of icons. And I wish you a good Lenten journey and a very joyous Easter morning, when we will be able to say, of him and of ourselves. He is risen. Indeed, we are risen. I'm Bob Wilhelm. I'm a storyteller, a pilgrim, an iconographer. Thanks for listening.